can get his crown taken off him by mid-king. But we are jumping straight into the draft. Enclave on the blue, CAZ over on the red. And one thing you just said, D.Va, very, very good on these control mages and Jokerism as well. He's got a very wide champion pool. We've seen him play Xayah, Varus, obviously one of his main champions. There's not something that, not an AD carry I can name in all honesty, that he couldn't play. I'm gonna be real with you. So it's gonna be very hard to kind of ban him out. Speaking of bans, there will be Thresh though off the board first for Enclave.
Yeah, fast-legged. Terrifying Thresh player, and also one of those carry supports that can shut down Karma and Xayah. There's sort of two champions that Nightmares loves to play, so perfectly understandable ban there.
Absolutely. Sejuani as well, being the ban away from Scudzy. Scudzy's been playing a lot of Sejuani recently, like an absolute ton, so not too much of a surprise. Alice has taken off the board as well, really wanted to target fast-legged's pool here, as well as the Elise, and we did mention
Scudzy.
This guy is
exactly
that.
There we go. Taken away, and then the Nidalee ban for Enclave there is just trying to help shut down the pressure that CAZ is going to have now. They've put two bans into the jungle, sort of denying a potential pick into Scudzy, knowing that the jungle pool's already been weakened. And there we go. Wow.
Okay.
Once
all right.
again.
Scudzy, you're playing nothing.
Yeah. Well, there's still junglers. Gragas, Rek'Sai is up there.
There's still junglers.
Well, Gragas is like your go-to. Rek'Sai too.
Absolutely. And that'll be the first lock-in.
Graves.
I mean, yeah, if worse comes to worse, you still got that Graves pick. I mean, CAZ right now, they forced to pick up the Rek'Sai. That's the kind of big question. But it also leaves them to open picking their AD carry here. Take a lot away from Jokerism, even though he does have a very wide pool, but something that's left open, we don't see all too often, is that Caitlyn.
Yeah, and, you know, there's AD carry is a big question. There's also the question of supports as well. You know that Nightmares can play these like Xayah, Karma kind of picks that are very oppressive. I'm wondering whether or not CAZ is going to look to try and shut that down early in the draft. It's possible, you know, you maybe take the stronger one of those two and prevent it being picked up.
Yeah, makes it a real possibility. J4, however, will be the lock in here. Again, it will be a flex, though. This is the big thing about Jarvan right now. Is it going to be jungle? Is it going to be mid? We saw Candy Floss earlier this week. Not perform amazingly well on the full AD Jarvan, but he made some funky-looking plays.
Yeah, very questionable.
Very questionable. But the Braum will be locked in here for fast-legged. Just want to make sure his pool is intact, at least going towards the later end of the draft.
And one of those champions as well that you can kind of play into Xayah Karma, because although you're going to get pushed in a lot, there's a little bit you can do with the shield, and you have to sort of block damage, and you can also jump on them and threaten them too. So it's a nice pickup here, knowing that Nightmares is very likely to play these range supports.
Well, surprise, surprise. I mentioned it, and Caitlyn is going to be the pick for Jokerism. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Caitlyn. She's pretty good right now, and there's been a lot of talk about Caitlyn actually, whether they should nerf her traps, just her base damage. She, on this patch 7.14 that we are currently on, she received half of her base attack speed. It's gone. 4% to 2% is pretty devastating, in all honesty, for early game. But for late game, you're not too worried about that one. Xayah will be the lock in here to round out Enclave's bot lane, however.
All right, classic Nightmares pick. We've actually seen him get banned against him a couple of times in the past too. He plays his champion in the current tank meta of the game. He plays it as another AP carry. So he literally just go full AP, and then after building the Sightstone, and then can actually provide another damage source for his team. So it's a very nice pick. He plays it very well.
Does do a lot of work against the Jarvan as well. If someone does get Cataclysm, it's very easy to just chuck the Strangle Forms down, just chuck a couple of plants on top of that as well.
Completely.
It's very hard for him to actually get out of that situation, unless he breaks the walls himself. That will be CAZ eSports locking out their bottom lane, however, with that Tristan lock-in too for Jakamaka. Now, this is really heavy prioritization on the bot lane for both teams here. You can kind of see where these teams want to play around.
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing about both their picks too is Jarvan, in theory, is kind of flexible in the jungle, but he can also go top lane and counters the Gragas. So that Gragas flex is now almost definitely jungle. So not much been given away from either team at this point. It's all going to come down to the bans. Now
it's all mid lane bans, and I can imagine that's what we're going to see. I want to take D.Va's pool out of the question, and that'll be the LeBlanc ban away for CAZ. Now Enclave responding with that with a Talia ban. So again, those very safe, blind pickable mid laners getting taken off the board.
Yeah, I mean, Ori being the safest blind pickable mid laner, but there's no reason for CAZ to ban that because they can first pick it. Enclave might know this, well, do know this, of course, and could then ban the Orianna. It would fit perfectly into CAZ's comp, so very high priority champion right now in the draft. See if it gets banned away.
It's really interesting, this draft phase, because it's been on CAZ eSports side, full junglers, then full mids. Like, they know who they want to focus, right? They want to focus Scudzy, they want to focus D.Va. On Enclave side, they banned one jungler, just their respect ban, the Nidalee there against Scood, and then they've obviously just banned away the mid lanes here in the second rotation, but kind of focusing towards the bottom lane then, give Jokerism a little bit of easier time. Orianna, like you said, will be the ban away. Makes a lot of sense. Those two blind pickable mid laners completely gone off the board. Now, what do CAZ respond?
I'm thinking Corki off the top of my head. You know, it fits nicely with your composition. You know, works well with Braum because of the sort of defensiveness that you can put out. Safe blind pickable mid in general. So probably, you know, your go-to. In response to that, very often you see teams pick Cassiopeia into Corki, one of the few champions that can really pressure him in the early phase and then scale with his damage as well. Considering we've seen a lot of mid-lane bans, likely to be picked. There we go.
It's like you're a color caster, Will, in all honesty. It's predicting the draft. No, Cassiopeia will be the lock in here.
Top lane Gnar.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense in the composition when you think of it. All right, okay, I'll hold you to that one. We'll have to wait and see. Cassiopeia, yeah, like you said, it's going to be very easy for them to trade into mid-king in that regard. Twin Fang's doing
massive damage.
Massive damage, even at early levels. Level 2, you just get chased just down and out of your lane, especially even if you're just someone like a Corki, like you said. And that will be the Camille to round out the comp, though. Without going towards Igloo. That's pretty good.
Gives them another option. You know, it gives you this split push option if the team fightings aren't going so well for you. So I like that adaptation in this draft. You've already got fantastic team fight from your composition as of yet, so no need to pile another thing into it. Why not just take the Camille? You can pressure out the Jarvan. Works very fine.
Pressure game up in that top lane. Maybe trying to make Scood focus that top side to give their mid and bottom lane a little easier time. That won't, however. That Kled being locked in. Again, we spoke about it. Jarvan is one of these flexible jungle top laners right now. CAZ proving that and blocking in that Kled in the top lane.
Yeah, completely. So, you know, what to expect from Jarvan is the opportunity for him to go Warriors and be pressure orientated, so he's constantly trying to find your jungler and make these plays happen. I thought that he has a lot of damage. Or he can just go full tank, and then he just basically CCs and then locks you up, and that's, you know, fantastic for him too. So a bit of a variety there coming out of the, you know, out of the jungle role from the Jarvan. Usually we don't see that much variety in the jungle builds. Usually there's like a meta way of playing. There's a solo queue way of playing too, you know, full damage Elise or whatever, or I don't know. I mean, full damage, Runic Echoes Gragas. But from Jarvan, you actually can see this adaptation in competitive games.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, you're looking at CAZ's lineup right now, and I'm thinking, that's a lot of turret taker potential. Corki walks up to the turret. You got Tristana as well. They blow turrets up in an instant.
In front,
exactly. You know. It's going to be pretty hard for Enclave to defend against that. You look at the wave clear on the side. You go, okay, we got Gragas barrels, I guess. Caitlyn can throw a Q out, I guess, but then Braum shield sits in the way. So maybe that's CAZ's game. Maybe they just want to siege up these turrets and go, Enclave, okay, bring it to us. That's fine. We're not too scared of this Caitlyn because we've got someone like a Braum that can stand in front of us. We're just going to take turrets. You're going to have to watch them crumble.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting actually between these two teams when it comes to this sort of taking towers, because both teams have ways of outplaying the other. So Cassiopeia, for example, if she puts down the Toxic Miasma as you're walking up to take a tower, you're kind of vulnerable for about 1.5 seconds as you try and walk out of it really awkwardly. So there is that. Caitlyn traps too, in a sense, can be used to prevent you being sieged because you have to walk through them quite awkwardly. So very interesting interactions between the two teams when it comes to sieging the towers. It's kind of going to come down to how well the teams can actually play the tower siege and bait out these respective abilities.
We've seen a lot of UK teams at the moment going these 1-3-1 compositions. This isn't that at all. I mean, if Corki goes the teleport, maybe. He's very good at taking turrets, he's got escapes, etc.
Yeah, that's all right.
I mean, yeah, it's okay, right? It's nothing like we've seen CAZ in, obviously, over the last couple of weeks. Yeah, another really, really high prioritization on that champion. Not really picked up in this draft, though, not touched all too much. And I can imagine that's actually down to the pools rather than anything, the individual champion pools. But 1-3-1's really being the cream of the crop at the moment. But they are really feast or famine. If you get behind, this sucks. But if you're ahead, it's fantastic. You're just sitting there like, okay, just laughing at the enemy team at this point.
It is tough to play these, you know, teleport comps. And I mean, in a sense, playing a split push comp is a lot harder macro-wise than playing just a team fight composition, right? Because all you have to do in a team fight comp is make sure that the fight is good for you, and then just shout down the mic, go, 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 and then everyone leaps in, right? Everyone charge, you know, someone's like, I've got a flank, let's go, and that's the cool. Whereas with setting up these split pushes, it's all about sort of making sure you have wave pressure and that this guy's pushing up there with appropriate vision in time for your wave to connect in. A lot more to think about. So if you perhaps aren't as experienced together, or you just want a slightly easier scenario, perhaps you run team fights better. No reason not to go team fight comp, and that's exactly what we've seen here for both teams. We know they probably can look to try and play split push, and we're seeing it kind of in the Camille pick up from Enclave here, but both teams looking very heavily into team fights, which not only makes the game more exciting for us,
absolutely,
which is the most important thing, but also really does push mechanics to the limit, because it's just going to be about how much DPS between the AD carries they can put down in team fights, where they're positioning to make sure they don't get picked off, things like that.
speaking of picking people off, we've got this Jarvan and we've got this Kled. Very good at isolating one target. Kled can provide a massive movement speed boost to the rest of his team to follow up on the Jarvan engage. Can be quite devastating when used in the perfect scenario. But then we look at Enclave's lineup and we go, okay, so what have they got? They've got a Cassiopeia. What can she protect? The Caitlyn. This is all I'm thinking about right now. It's just the Jokerism Caitlyn in all honesty. Because they do play a lot of late game scaling AD carries. Like Varus, Caitlyn, we've got Xayah. A lot of AD carries previously, in a few patches ago, would scale up about, you know, 15-minute mark, Black Cleaver, that kind of meta, which was pretty devastating in all honesty. But right now, we are looking at these late-game carries, the triple Energizer builds from people like Caitlyn. I'm just looking at Jokerism and like, how does he even get killed at this point? Miasma down, you're done.
It is going to be tough, you know. Yeah. In a sense, it's going to come down to how well he can position, where Jarvan and Kled are in relation to him. So if Jarvan is able to get the ult on top, and at this point Jokerim's already burnt the net for some reason, then sure. But in a sense, Caitlyn is the more mobile target between the Caitlyn and Varus distinction. So they can have multiple target selection.
We'll see what target they do select, shall we, Will? Enclave are over on the blue, CAZ over on the red. First game of this evening. I'm looking forward to this one. And what matchup is going to be the one to watch? Is it going to be bot lane? Because I got my eye on the mid. I want to see Cassiopeia coming up against Mid King. D.Va taking that exhaust, where Mid King actually taking that teleport instead, which does allude there to a possibility of the 1-3-1.
Absolutely. You know, it's a nice pickup there from Mid King to be able to teleport. In a sense, it just gives them another option, you know, another way to play around the game. Whereas D.Va typically, you know, you see on Cassiopeia as well, going for this exhaust for that all-in potential. Essentially, as Cass, if you all in someone, it's very hard for them to escape. Very often they have to turn instantly. It's in that moment you want to exhaust. So if they commit to escaping, they're going to get run down, heavily out-traded. If they commit to fighting, you've got an exhaust in their face to deny them. That's why you often see Cassiopeia's pick up the exhaust. Mid King, though, trusting in his ability to survive the lane without the need of a combat summoner, going for the teleport instead.
I think slither down would be a more appropriate word to use. Not walk down. She ain't got her boots no more. Thanks to her new passive.
Memey change
it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
She can no longer build boots.
Haha, where does Cassiopeia put a boot?
Mauser half floats.
Oh, I get. Yeah, he doesn't need boots.
What does he get, like hover jets?
Style points. Oh, yeah, hover boots.
I don't know, hover boots.
Hover boots is sick.
What would they give you? Like walking through terrain? Because that would be ridiculous.
Like Kane walks out of the map.
Toxic miasma.
Oh, the true counter. Yeah, the hover boots. We did actually see CAZ put a really early ward down in Scudsy's red buff there. They are going to know now he's starting in that blue side. Scudsy is one of these junglers as well. We didn't touch on it actually. Kind of bring it up with these new jungle strategies, these new routes we've seen throughout the current weeks. And Scudsy, I think, is going to be a little understated, I think, from CAZ. If you don't respect Scudsy's ability to clear and his ability to path very well, can lead to your lanes maybe playing a little bit too overconfident.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, certainly true. We've seen a lot of success come out off the back of Scudsy. As I have touched on in the past, though, you know, what's so nice about how Enclave play is that they play around their laners so well. There's a lot of communication coming down from all the lanes to explain where the lane's going to be, where it's going to be pushed up, where they have pressure, where they don't have pressure. You know, you see in the bottom lane, it's heavily shoved under tower. But Scoot is there to try and punish it. Scudsy is nowhere to be seen.
Well, wards from Jokerism. He's going to get a small movement speed boost from the Warlords, which alludes him to safety. Scoot making a very early play on that bottom side. Again, just really shows where they actually want to play around this map. Now Scudsy taking this red buff. He's going to have a small lead, you could argue.
He got a little bit of tempo because Jarvan went in for the frog. Not too much, though. It's kind of about back timings combined with where they actually look to put their pressure. Scoot is already at level 3, so Scudsy wouldn't want to find him in the jungle. Scoot just trying to do his best to keep the tempo onto the Jarvan. Onto the Gragas even. He is in fact playing the Jarvan.
And he is. There are really loads of early wards as well down this bottom side. You look at in the Pixel Brush there next to Baron. Actually, Scudsy did place his trinket ward there earlier on, so just making sure that mid was safe. D.Va actually finding Mid King. It's going to be a lot of damage if you're not careful, Mid King, but D.Va the same. Phosphorus Rod doing a lot of damage. Scoot's going to be here, has got Flag Drag, and has red buff. He is Corrupting Potion was burning as well. D.Va was kind of lucky there to escape with his life in all honesty, but did have the ward to ward off Scoot.
Yeah, well, he has the exhaust still up, so he didn't think he was going to die there, but the issue with being now is that the Corki is able to pressure you, certainly in a lane that shouldn't. Now that Scudsy walking down to that bottom bush there has been pinged out. CAZ's bot lane here are fully aware of his current location, so No, nothing probably going to happen from that. In the meantime, Scoot, though, going to look to try and punish this mid lane. Notice how D.Va is playing heavily into the top side of the lane. He's fully aware that Scoot is in the bottom half of the map.
He does get a knock up. That will be at least one summoner spell going down for D.Va. Scoot really wants this. Hasn't got red buff anymore, but yeah, as soon as he showed himself for the brief second, D.Va's like, yeah, I'm out.
Well, Scoot was standing on a ward. If you see where the blast cone is on blue side jungle, there is a ward there, so D.Va knows.
Baiting him out, wasting time.
Yeah, wasting time, exactly. It's important, you know. Just one camp puts you behind, the other guy's going to hit 6, the other jungler's going to hit 6 first. That can be a big deal, so.
And especially with these junglers as well, like Gragas, not as influential, you could argue, as the J4. As soon as he does hit level 6, you do really have to make sure you aim the cast well to actually get something out of it. J4, point and click, flag drag.
To make those engages happen. On the other hand, though, at least Gragas has more options. You know, he can cast to disengage, for example, where it's quite hard to disengage this job. And sure, you can escape yourself, but really your mechanic has to be Cataclysm in and then flag and drag out to make that happen. A lot harder to execute than just a cast on top of, you know, whoever's engaged on my AD carry, and makes it pretty easy.
Man, it's really punishing for Jakamaka right now. Already at 3rd HP. No potion either. Jokerism hasn't even burnt anything. Just shows how much pressure Nightmares is putting down. Like we mentioned before, it's one of his favoured champions up against these melee supports. Scoot making his way down though again.
He's going again.
He's going on that ward. Jokerism is going to see him. Scoot might be able to get the knock up here, but Fastlegged not being able to do too much. Actually, he's going to find Nightmares. That's actually a Thunderlords on the job and didn't expect that. Flash from Nightmares. The bomb does land. Nothing else is going to get followed up on, however. Only a flash burn from Nightmares. A little bit of time wasted for Scoot, but I'm sure they're going to be more than happy with that.
Yeah, it was smart there from Scoot to actually target Zyra over Caitlyn, because Caitlyn could have just Caliber-netted out of that instantly and she would have just got a good trade, whereas in going on Nightmares, you pretty much have to force the flash, because obviously Zyra is immobile there. So overall good target selection from Scoot. He essentially got a free summoner for no problem, you know. Got his bot lane a strong back timing as well. Pressure may be working out for him so far.
Emphasis on that bottom lane. However, they are 10 CS behind right now, and so is Scoot in this jungle. Scuzzy's just been farming like crazy. Doesn't really mind, doesn't really care about these early ganks. He knows Corky's got a viable way out. Same with that cleared in that top lane. And Jakamaka and Fastleg, they're pushed up to their tower constantly anyway. In fact, that'll be first. I think that's going to be first turret going down. Yeah, it's only 6 minutes 40 in the game.
Wow.
First turret falling in that bottom side already.
That was a lot of damage they put out there. You know, that was... I sort of didn't quite realise, to be honest with you. I didn't really grasp that that tower fell so early, or was taking so much damage there from the power that Jokerism and Nightmares can put down. 17 CS difference as well between these AD carries. That's a pickaxe for Tristana, BF Sword for Caitlyn. We all know the power that BF Sword has when you are looking for those early trades. So, gonna go definitely in Jokerism and Nightmares' favour in this bottom lane. We do expect this kind of control though. Zyra has a lot of dominance over the Braum in the lane phase.
Now swapping up the lanes though. That means Jokerism and Nightmares are going towards that top side as Igloo and Rengis did move their way to the bottom. However, they both have teleports, so not too much loss there whatsoever. Jakamaka, he's trying to get some free CS at the moment. He knows that brief period where he did get to the lane before Jokerism, he can CS freely. However, a lot of wave clear for them. Scudzy now, moving towards that top side. Scoot looking to take, or at least get priority over that Herald. But Scudzy, more than healthy, actually stealing away some of that fruit as well.
Yeah, feels good, man. Keep yourself at full health, full mana. Not too much to play for on the top side of the map until the 10-minute mark, once Herald spawns. Bit of
nice
action
hook shot, yeah. There goes Skarl. Hextech Ultimatum is available for Igloo, but didn't want to blow it just yet. And even Mid King's under a lot of pressure in that mid. However, he is slightly out CSing D.Va, only by 4. But does have the Hex Drinker. Almost called a Hex Blade then. I was like, if he had a Hex Blade.
That sounds cool.
Hextech Gunblade.
Yeah, sounds like Gunblade, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's nice.
Oh. Only slightly disgusting. Nightmares, Jokerism, not warded up just yet, are you? There's a Cataclysm straight onto Nightmares, targeting the support again. There comes Scuzzy, 3-man body slam though. Here comes the teleport too. Nightmares is actually ignited. Scoot going very low. The heal does come through. Hextech Ultimatum to lock him up, finish him off. That'll be Igloo with the first bloods.
All right, that's it. Igloo, the first one to pull the TP. Rengis was not there at all. Team clearly didn't want him coming up, or perhaps he was just too interested in the farm in the bot side. And gives first blood over to Enclave and pressure on this tower. You can't imagine Jakamaka and Fastlegged walking up here. It's 2v4 and they know there's no one around to help them out. So you get a lot of damage out on this tower. Most likely going to be taken as well. You've got BF Sword, Caitlyn, Camille too, puts out a lot of tower damage.
This is exactly what we saw from Team Singularity in the first week coming up against ESL. The rotations coming out from Enclave are honestly quite, I don't like to use the word too much, but quite disgusting. We have 9 minutes in the game, and we've got 2 turrets going down. Let's have a look at the replay, though.
Right there, so Scoot leaps in onto Nightmares. He is the target, he is the squishiest, but Scudsy there flash body slams in. Massive knock up. At that point, the fight is a disaster. Enclave has managed to teleport in though, pick up that kill, but essentially that just comes down to the fact they weren't able to burst Nightmares down in time, and Scudsy was there just at the right moment to flash body slam in.
Man, it's so punishing as well for CAZ, because Rengus did have his teleport, but just couldn't find an entrance. He's teleporting into a losing fight more often than not, and would rather have got a little bit of CS, a little bit of damage down in that turret on bottom lane. And now they've got turret TP advantage, yes, but the problem is they lost 2 turrets in 9 minutes. It's not looking good for CAZ, and I mean, one thing they could do maybe here is just set up run Rift Herald. Seems like the most obvious choice. Just make sure you can get that massive global objectives and then start forcing turrets down. As we see once more Enclave now rotating toward mid lane. Jokerism's freely there, just hitting up some CS and getting some damage down to that turret.
I would love to see CAZ here find a way to use the Corki package. Doesn't look likely though, as they're kind of all grouping up mid at this point. It's not the opportunity you want to use it. You want to try and catch someone off guard, maybe set up a dive or a play in the bottom side of the map. Actually, just saw on your screen there that it did burn out. So that was one way they could try and get back into the game, try and bring some kills and gold back into their coffers. And as it wasn't used in this way, now they just need a little bit of time to scale up. You need Corki to have the Triforce so he can properly duel the Cassiopeia. You need Tristana to get to a point where she's kind of matching the Caitlyn damage as well. Until then, it's going to be Enclave who are going to have control.
In all honesty, I did think you said coffin there rather than coffers.
Coffers?
Yeah, coffers. I thought you said coffin.
Oh,
I was like, they're not.
They're not gold into their coffin.
They're not dead yet.
That sounds very Viking, Like,
it does, yeah. Very true. Uh-oh, Micking's in a lot of trouble. Miasma's going to slam up. There's the body slam predicted perfectly. Cask into the wall. Oh dear, you are donezo, my friend. D.Va is going to be able to pick up that kill. Scudsy quite handily handing that off to him, and already now we can see Mid King. He's trying to get that split push going, but he just cannot do it, especially when Scudsy is just so dominant map control. Yeah,
people often say, we talk about Scudsy all the time as casters when casting Enclave, but this is exactly why. He turns that fight in the top lane, he gets that free kill in the bot lane. He's even here in the mid, just being annoying. He knows that D.Va's coming around.
here too. Miasma's onto 2 people here. Ace in the hole does come and hit Rengus. Skull's going to disappear, but D.Va's already taken out the top lane. Scoot's going to fall as well. Beautiful strangle force to get the double knock up. That'll be a double kill for Jokerism. It's almost a complete ace with Mid King just spawning up in that top side. Your entire team wipe, and now Enclave are going to crack all of the tier 1s.
Yeah, absolutely. That was so smart there from Enclave. D.Va was in the bottom lane. He was pushing out. CAZ did know that he was there, but just didn't expect him to take such an aggressive route behind them for this flank. They kind of pushed up, trying to trade for the vision there, as we saw, onto the Scudsy, who basically baited them out for long enough that his team could flank. Actually, here we go. So the Cassiopeia goes in on the flank. We have Camille leap in as well. Notice how Jokerism just on the side there, kind of distracting 2 people while the rest of his team annihilates everyone down. And a fantastic Stranglethorns there from Nightmares. This is exactly why that champion gets banned against him so often in competitive matches, because he's able to just make aggressive plays happen consistently throughout the game. It also gives you a winning laning phase. It's kind of perfect for him in this.
It's working out perfect for his team as well at the moment. Seeing a 50% kill participation, but all those kills have landed on the targets that matter. We have 3-0 on D.Va now on this Cassiopeia. All of the tier 1s of CAZ have gone. Rift Herald has even gone over to Scudsy as well. Very punishing situation now for CAZ. Now, what do they really do at this point? You're against a scaling Cassiopeia, scaling Caitlyn. Igloo's even getting there as well with his Trinity Force soon. I mean, the only hope and prayer maybe they have is just all-inning on one target, using the ultimates, just clicking R on everybody's keyboard at the same time, running down Jokerism or D.Va, and then hoping for the best.
At this point, I'm not even sure that's going to save them completely, because there's 2 carry targets now that are getting fed in a Cassiopeia and Caitlyn. In their minds, it's going to be so hard for them to win a team fight. They need picks such as this one here in the top lane.
Pick might happen here. Igloo doesn't have X-Tech Ultimatum. Scoot does have that Cataclysm. Mid King doing a fair bit of damage. No Trinity Force, only Sheen, though, backing him up. But he wish he had that Trinity Force, might have been able to do a little bit more. Rift Herald's actually going to get opened up in the mid lane here. You can see where Scudsy's placed it as well. It's actually going to meet this minion wave that's coming up. Quite intelligent placing. They still have a little bit of a minion wave. However, Tristana very good at clearing. But Enclave very good at zoning. There goes Harriet. Does do half the turret's damage, and I can imagine Enclave just going to finish this one off. No problem. Or at least Harriet will.
Yeah, absolutely. That was solid there from CAZ. Sorry, from Enclave. So CAZ tried to make a play in the top side of the map. It's kind of what they need to do. They need to look for these opportunities where they can take 2v1s. But Enclave know how to play around
collapse here. Igloo's just going to find mid-king. Here comes D.Va as well. He is grounded. He's rooted. He does take Igloo with him, but the ace in the hole off-screen will take him out. Joker isn't picking up that kill. Nice, beautiful collapse there. Mid-king literally nowhere to go with that opportunity.
No, and this is essentially what CAZ used to be doing to Enclave, but it isn't working out for them. Sure, you trade 1-for-1 when this far behind, so it's all right, I guess, but the problem was they committed so many resources top lane that Enclave just knew they could pull the trigger mid. They had the Herald to do so. Had they got the kill on Enclave, though, it could have been a different, onto Igloo, sorry, it could have been a different story, and that's what they need to at least try for. They're pretty far behind now. As we said, they're playing against a comp that has good siege, has good scaling, lots of options when it comes to team fighting and picks as well. You just have to essentially out-vision your opponent, look for picks where they make mistakes, and try and bring it back from there.
Now Scudzy once more trying to get vision down CAZ's jungle. Rengus having a little bit of a tough time in that top lane. He isn't behind in CS, not much at least, only 4. And now Enclave kind of can see where he's coming from. There are 5 members around this Ocean Drake. If that's how much you want to prioritize it, then go for it. I mean, I love Ocean Drake personally, I always bang on about it, but as a mid laner, it's nice to have that extra mana regen later on in the game.
Actually, Kled is TPing in here on the top side. Oh, he's here.
This is going to be a team fight. No, here we go. This is what we wanted to see. Mid-king using that package in, Scoots in the front line, but Joker's him completely left alone, completely safe. Igloo finds a kill on the back line, and I don't know how he's doing it. It was 2v3 at one point. Now the rest of Enclave are just going to run through CAZ. Fast-legged flashing away, that red buff burning. Ace in the hole. Will Tristana save him? Yes, he will. But guess who's there to meet you? Scudzy's going to throw out that barrel. Mid-king's going to flash as Igloo's just chasing him down. Tactical sweep not even needed. Body slam onto Mid-king. Trying to find something. He gets his second kill. That's what's important, but they still lose 3 members.
You have to look at the item to understand why that fight went that way. Corki has not finished Triforce. Jarvan did not finish Cinderhulk. Tristana only just finished the Eye Edge, so completely out when it comes to item discrepancy, and that's exactly why that fight went so badly for them. In the end, though, Dragon going over to Enclave, they're able to steal blue buff as well, shove in all of these waves. Fantastic, really. You know, they can't have any complaints about how that went. And CAZ just falling further and further behind.
Gold lead, we're 16 minutes in. 8,000 gold lead. Not something we usually see. That's quite an insane number, in all honesty. That's 500 gold per second added up over the course of 16 minutes. Good quick math for you there.
Well, I think is I don't want to doubt you, because otherwise I was going to say...
You look like a fool.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to say fantastic maths. Well done. Hey, have a GCSE.
Thank you. Yeah. I did do advanced maths in university. Come on.
Right.
Did a little bit.
A little bit.
Not too much. I did kind of...
Yeah? Does that mean, like...
Did a little bit.
You did... Okay. I'm not really sure what that means.
Wasn't very good at it.
You took a module, or like you failed?
It was a whole. It was a whole unit. No, I didn't fail a year.
I don't know, because it's like saying, you know, I took this subject and then I sort of took it. You know, I didn't know if you meant.
No, it was a module. I did programming at uni, so it was kind of necessary.
Oh, I do know this about you. Maths. I did logic and philosophy. I guess that's the closest we can get.
I mean, yeah, I guess
logic, tableaus, and all that jazz.
Well,
it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all.
No, maths wasn't that great.
All you
had to do though, here's a little bit of insight into my course, was make a small program to basically sort numbers. Super easy. Got like a distinction for it. Or not a distinction, sorry. What'd you get in uni? A first. Yeah. That's the one. Yeah, well, first. I've got one of those.
Okay.
All right. Well first class game. Thank you very much. First class game from Enclave, though. 1 Dragon, 4 turrets, 8,000 gold, like we mentioned. 17 minutes on the clock here. The fastest inhibitor taken in Prem right now is 18 minutes. That was taken by XL.
Wow. Big fact. Big fact for days. We're not quite going to hit that. 5 seconds to go. No waves around. Could it be? Okay, first inhibs not going down, I'm afraid.
Not yet.
What they have done, on the other hand, instead of taking inhibitors, is solidify an incredible amount of vision in this top side jungle. I mean, look at the wards there that Enclave has in this top side jungle. They're going to be able to dominate that entire half of the map just from that alone. From there, they're maybe going to try and take the tier 2 in the top lane, set up for kills and picks. And at this point, if you're able to get a kill, you may even look to try and push in and take an inhibitor tower.
Well, Enclave are doing just that. They're going to rotate 3 members towards that top side. Rengus is going to be able to clear out here. He does have the Tiamat available, so unless he's forced to back off, which is he's doing just now, he's going to be able to clear out that wave nice and tightly. Scoot's going to be here too. Now, they can clear the waves, yes, but the onslaught of this Caitlyn and the ability for Enclave to just sit at the turrets and go, okay, what now? I'm going to put traps there. We have Nightmares as well for the Stranglethorns, for disengage. You can't really do much. You know what happened at the Dragon Pit. We're going to do the same thing again.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason to think that won't happen again. Sure, now your Cookie does have the Triforce, so he does have a lot of damage being pumped out there. Tristana too has been able to finish the Infinity Edge, but realistically, when it comes to these teamfights, you're fighting such a stacked opponent. You know, Gragas even has the Knight's Vow to keep someone alive too. I think it currently is on Caitlyn, I believe, so that's going to make her even tankier. How do you focus a Caitlyn when the whole team could peel? She has a Knight's Vow on her. Same could be said for Cassiopeia, but decent self-peel there too. It's going to be so tough for Kaz to try and win these teamfights. In a sense, they just need to pick. They need to find one of the Enclave members out of position and go, you know, in on that moment.
Knight's Vow was a very underrated item when it first came out, and now players are really starting to grasp its meaning a little bit more. That damage redirection on, from Jokerism onto Scudzy will mean a lot in the late game if someone does manage to get on him. Even that small percentage of damage, if it does get redirected, that could mean him living or dying at the end of the day. So we've seen even multiple Knight's Vows actually come through. I think last week in ESL, I think we saw multiple Knight's Vows. It was on like mid and AD carry, of course, and you'd say top lane is getting them and support would as well. It's pretty devastating in all honesty. Jokerism more than protected in these fights. Now CAZ, they just need to make that one engage, and they can, and they do have the ability to do it. It's just when do they want to pull the trigger? Baron's up on the cards. We do have 1 minute on that dragon as well.
So at this point, Enclave can either go for the safe dragon. I believe it's a Cloud Drake off the top of my head. It's not going to be, you know, ideal for them. It's not going to be fantastic, but it slowly accrues leads. Really, though, what they need to do is put down a ton of vision in the area they want to control, whether it's bot or top side, and then off that, just look for a pick, look for tower sieges. Cracking the inhib towers, that we know is so difficult for these teams. You really do need 1 or even 2 kills to actually be able to crack them successfully. It does make you wonder, are Enclave going to focus on the Baron instead? But if they go for Baron, they risk the potential of the 50-50. Smite happening, you know, if Scoot leaps in and steals the Baron, suddenly the game that was all yours goes to, you know, potentially being completely thrown for you at that point. It's something we have seen in the past. Probably don't want to risk that, so it's quite difficult at this point for Enclave to know where they want to be targeting. And it's kind of just going to come down to how well they trust in their shot calling. Are they better at making picks, sieging towers, or are they better at securing Barons?
I think they're good at all of them, in all honesty. They got the composition to do it. We're in a brief pause, however. Igloo, I do believe, has disconnected for the momentary time. As you can see, he's just walking away from those minions, just completely ignoring them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need a CS at this point. 142 CS, though, at 20 minutes. Isn't the greatest, but his impact in these fights has just been absolutely phenomenal. Securing first blood in top lane, out-teleporting the Khaled, which was to kind of be expected. It wasn't to a losing fight at the end of the day, but that teleport advantage they did have, even for that brief moment of time, they didn't really take advantage of, really. It was just like, okay, we have to lane swap. Now what do? We don't really want to pull the trigger. Yeah,
you wonder if perhaps CAZ there had actually called the Kled TP in like really early as soon as the fight started. Could that have turned it? I'm sure they're going to go back and watch over and be like, actually, we should have realized that a 3v3 is not what we wanted, because they weren't able to kill Nightmares. Kind of because Scudzy turned up, but at the same time, they just didn't have the damage because they were kind of behind in items. Tristana had a pickaxe at that point, Caitlyn had the BF, so you just aren't winning these trades at that point. In those teamfights, you still aren't doing all the damage. Maybe they could have just called in the TP really early and kind of would have forced something, could have turned the favor for them, but it was good from the Igloo there to be able to push in the Kled to deny that happening. So I think Enclave have just been playing very clean throughout the course of this game, and you know, getting that super early tower has helped as well.
Yeah. 6.5 minute turret. Yeah. That is absolutely insane. It just shows, again, how much priority they do put on that bottom side. It wasn't like that Scudzy was there all the time. In fact, Scoot was there more often than not, tried to make 2 ganks happen. Yeah. They did get the kill on Night. Oh no, they got this flash on Nightmares in the end. But you're gonna question yourself. Well, just the slide of the game, like, oh,
like, hello.
Ooh, scary stuff. Right, but I mean, they didn't really capitalize off that, really. Nightmares lost his flash, yes, but it was fair game from Enclave then. They just put traps up and then they just walk towards them and go, okay, again, what do you do? Tristana isn't going to win against such a heavy pressure bottom laner such as Nightmares on this Zyra, even if it is someone with like a Caitlyn.
And the thing is as well, you know that Nightmares plays Zyra and Karma. It's not like these are 2 unique champions that he's just picked up for this game. A lot of teams ban Zyra against him as well. CAZ instead opting to ban 3 junglers, so clearly terrified of Scudzy, but weren't able to do anything in the jungle matchup that turned that to be a significant either way around. Makes you wonder if they'd banned the Zyra instead, for example, would their bot lane have lost tower so early? Would this be happening in the way that it would be? Because the Gragas is very similar in a sense to Sejuani and Zakshaw. doesn't have the insane gank potential that Zach does have, isn't as tanky as the Sejuani is in team fights, but still has other options, can still engage, can still disengage, still is a tank. So maybe instead of shutting down Scuds, you're putting all of your resources into it, you ban the Zyro instead, give yourself a little bit of an easier bottom lane
That's
situation.
something we don't touch on actually a lot, is the fact, if you're putting bans on Scudsy, if you're putting bans on a mid laner, top laner, you have to make something work in that matchup. You either force him onto something he's not comfortable with or go, okay, so we know your two favorite champions are banned out. We're also going to ban this other one that's fairly safe. We're now going to punish you for that by sending all our pressure top. We saw Scudsy just go, okay, so you banned out all junglers almost.
Yep.
Even that we banned out the Nidalee, by the way. So that's fine. I'm just going to take Gragas because it is open. There's so many junglers right now that are viable in the meta. It's not like a few patches ago where it was literally Rek'Sai and Nidalee.
Yeah.
It is. Well, Rek'Sai and Nidalee can still be played. That's the thing. That's the joke, right? And Gragas can be played too, and everything they banned out can be played. So it's a matter of fact of you've got to make sure you do something with that advantage, like you said. If you're banning someone out, do something with it. And it was just, in a sense, not 3 wasted bans because you did limit the pool in a sense, but you didn't do anything.
Yeah, they just weren't successful, you know? I mean, it hasn't worked out for you. You've still given Scudsy a tank. He's still playing a champion that can engage, disengage for you. So perhaps they're going to look at that and think, okay, next time we end up playing them, if we end up playing against them again in sort of the future, you really need to ban out Nightmare's Zyra. And I think other teams are going to be watching this as well and just understanding why, because Zyra is so oppressive. You combine it with Caitlyn, right? So they pretty much got like the most oppressive AD carry in the game with like a range support, the most oppressive range support there is as well. Not going to go well for you. And then you pick Tristana Braum, who you know will get bullied. They don't even have a chance in this situation. Can't even really turn ganks that well because it's not like they have any instant CC. Braum has the slow, of course, and then it takes ages to get the stun. So although Scoot put all of his pressure in the bottom lane, nothing could come of it because Tristana and Braum couldn't exactly get onto their target. So it looked a little bit like they didn't kind of plan their draft with how they wanted to play the game. Which often happens. Maybe you see the draft and go, okay, we're going to camp bot lane. Draft hasn't gone that well for that, but let's kind of try it anyway. Hasn't worked out for them so far. Instead, they're going to have to maybe go back to the drawing board with the early game. For what it's led up to in this game, though, is a pretty rough mid-game currently. You know, Baron's just spawned, as we said, and Enclave just have all the control.
All the control, all the turrets as well.
Yeah.
And the Braum has actually picked up first rotation here on the red side. So they picked J4 and then into the Braum. And then Enclave were like, okay, you picked a melee support. You left my Zyra up. I'ma pick it.
It's not going to go well for you, is it?
There's no way. Maybe they prioritize something else there. Maybe they go, okay, so we're actually going to lock in an AD carry.
Maybe Caitlyn.
Wait for, maybe
just
Caitlyn. Yeah.
Instantly, yeah. Off the top of my head.
Off the top of my head. Maybe a Caitlyn.
Maybe Caitlyn.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense though at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
You lock in an AD carry, wait for then a support pick to come through for Enclave, not maybe saving for last pick, but maybe the second round of the draft, and then go, okay, so you're actually going to pick, maybe you pick Braum in that instance. We'll pick a range support, so we actually get the lane pressure to fix what we kind of wanted, what we want the game plan to be at least, because like you mentioned, did look like they wanted to camp bot lane. Scoot was there most of the time. Igloo was there completely alone.
Yeah, and you know, it's hard to sort of essentially ban or pick out Jokerism's champion pool, so you don't want to like put all of the bans there, although if you're really scared, maybe you'd ban like Varus and then try and take the Caitlyn or something. But it did seem a bit strange. You know, you prioritize J4 Braum. J4, is there a reason you need to pick that champion? So the J4 is a counter to the top lane Gragas, if that Gragas is going top lane, but you don't have to pick it that early in the rotation. Braum as well, yeah. The Caitlyn pick would have just perhaps, you know, saved them the embarrassment of having been annihilated bottom lane that much early on. And even if you do have to then deal with sort of Zyra and then another maybe Varus or something, Caitlyn offers more wave clear than Tristana does early on with Piltover's Peacemaker, and then she's able to put down traps to kind of deny, so more options for them then. At least the rest of the draft kind of went well, you know, they got the clear that they know that they love to play. They got Corki 2, who's a powerhouse mid laner. So,
Exactly.
maybe
they have to ride off the Corki power spikes then at the end of the day. He has picked up Triforce. He's working towards that rapid fire cannon. If not, he might just have it now. This is the kind of time when they need to fight. They need to be able to fight on these Corki power spikes. Just get him in a position where he can just freely do damage. The one good thing about Corki is that he does shred armor with his Gatling gun. So if he just sits, not at the front line, but at a range, just shredding someone like Scudsy, so much easier for Braum. Not Braum, sorry. He doesn't do much damage. It's so much easier for like Clem Tristana to kind of sit at the back line and go, okay, that's free damage for us because you have got no armor left almost. And then obviously Corki doing an absolute buttload himself. They've also got a lot of poke potential as well with the Corki. So maybe this is their time to go, okay, so we have hemorrhaged a lot of turrets right now, but I know, and we know, we can take turrets instantly. If we make a couple of picks here, maybe we don't touch Baron, we take a couple of turrets, or at least one, and then maybe put pressure on the Baron.
Yeah, there's certainly an option for them. You know, I think CAZ, if they're going to look into this, they don't have the potentially items to be able to fully trade. So sure, they could get a little bit of poke down, but realistically, Enclave, I think they have an Ocean Drake as well, or Ocean and Air. So it's going to be really tough to look for those sort of the poke, but they can make a pick. They certainly have a composition that can do it. You know, we've got Kled, Java, and they can all leap onto the targets, and you have Brom and Triss that provide a lot of damage. Shouldn't be too bad. Or you kind of wait for Enclave to go for the Baron and then look for a steal. We've seen CAZ get outsmited before. Many times, actually.
It's possible.
He probably won't want that on stream, but it's true. It's happened. It's happened. You know, and again, that could be a way you could try and look to, you know, your opponent's been sort of lost a quarter of their health bars already at Baron. You have Corki, you said the spike just now has long range over the wall. Suddenly, fight's looking more in your favor. You get Kled in the back line as well. Perhaps TP's in for a flank, and you know that's the kind of team fights you're looking to win.
You touched on it perfectly there, I think. The range advantage they do have is quite big. Tristana's passive scales with the amount of levels she does, gives her increased range on her abilities and auto attacks. And then you've got Corki just slinging rockets at you from a mile away. And then you go, okay, so actually, we don't need to engage. We can just poke from afar. We can use the Jarvan for the semi-disengage, you know, like
whatever he does.
Whatever he does, you know.
Yeah, flag and drag out.
Yeah, flag and drag
like,
away.
Bye, guys.
And I mean, he can even put the standard down for extra attack speed. There's something else as well. That's what something I was thinking in the draft. I was like, oh,
more steroids.
So much attack speed. Tristana's going to be happy with that. But they've got that
as if
in their wheelhouse.
90% on Q isn't enough already.
I know, right? Well, you know, that extra 20% of max ranks, a little something.
Yeah.
Helps me as a mid laner, actually. I've noticed that. Whenever I'm like, I'm a
Oriana.
Yeah, exactly, right? Or I'm Ari just throwing orbs. Like, this is really quick. And then I realize I've got Jarvan on my team. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
So how often does that happen?
Never.
No.
Never at all.
Weave auto attacks. To be
You're
fair,
supposed to.
Yeah, no, you should.
On Ari, you should,
definitely. Yeah,
oh,
Q auto.
When I see
Charm
people don't do that, I'm like...
Well, it's when you see them all in, and a guy walks away with like 50 health, and you go back and you realise that there was two moments they could have weaved an auto.
You could have killed. Yeah, cause when someone plays Ari against me, I'm like, you could have killed me.
You could have killed me there.
It's when you play a champion so much, and then you play against it, you're like, I should play really terrified right now because I know you can kill me,
but then they can't.
But they don't know that I know that they can kill me.
Absolutely,
it's great.
Happens too often.
That's the best opportunity. It's when I pick safe pick Oriana first. That's why I'm so guilty of doing that right now. Just I lock in Oriana and go, okay, and then the lock in Ari. I'm like, oh, I could have just picked Ari though.
But Ari beats Ari every time. You get level 4, it's all in.
Ari is so fun.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
There you go.
Kind of the reason I played Nocturne mid too. It's fun. It's a challenge.
Every time.
Everyone flames
we talk about mid lane. It's like,
Apto.
Have you heard of Nocturne mid?
Yeah.
Or Apto? I haven't mentioned Apto in a couple of streams.
No, you haven't. I want my new fact.
He is permaban now.
Again.
His main account got rank 1, and then Riot Korea changed his name to permaban, then a bunch of numbers afterwards. Got permabanned on his rank 1 account. Unlucky. 68% win rate.
So that is our fact.
That's the fact today. Apto
got it in this week.
Apto fact of the day. He's also playing on a Smurf in gold, playing Vayne top, going like 22-0.
Can you? Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Vayne mid. That's where it's at.
Oh, I don't know. He's just
That's
like
the first time I played against Vayne mid. I think I was in silver. And I didn't understand her condemn mechanic.
This is OP!
And I was like,
this is so broken.
What is this? Like, I think she all in me level 2 or something, or 3. Because, you know, back then she could do, you could tumble, auto, condemn, and then as the condemn's traveling, you could auto again.
You could also, yeah.
So you could insta-proc silver bolts, stun them, and then you could auto, tumble,
auto,
and
like,
you'd get 2 lots of silver bolts.
What just happened,
I'm dying to that.
I'm dead.
AP Poppy did the same thing to me. Hit level 2,
that is a blast
eat me into a wall. Because it used to do like 25 plus 9 damage. And then, on like the hit you. But if it hit you into a wall, it was another 75 plus then double the AP. So you actually take 120 damage at level 2 off the 1E, and then of course the Q was also scaled off AP.
That's like a sixth
Do you remember
of my
old
HP.
Poppy? Does anyone remember the Q was just a slam? The W was like a steroid, like
I'm very guilty of not knowing until like the very late stages of me playing the game what Poppy ult did, and I'm like, but what does it do though?
What was it? It was a steroid. No?
No, it isolated.
someone
It marked someone,
for like
and
30%
they
increased damage.
only do damage to you, but no one else can.
And you got 30% increased damage against them.
It was
which is
silly.
why it was so
you did it on
disgusting.
tanks. That's what my friend always said. Just do it on tanks. If you ever play Poppy, just do it on the tank, because then you can just destroy them, and then you can win the game, and then no one else can do damage to you.
That's a fair point.
And I'm sitting there like playing against Poppy. I'm like,
age-old strats.
what? Like what? I can't kill her.
Yeah.
I'm like throwing everything I've got. DFT, that's a blast in the past. DFT, charm, like 60% extra
DFG.
magic. DFG, oh god.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, not
Death by
DFT.
Grasp.
Death by Grasp into charm, that's 60% extra of damage from AP. And then I one-shot someone with
DFG so much.
Q and then Foxfire.
There's nothing, I never felt more empowered than as LeBlanc.
Oh,
just
no. That's,
unleashing your entire
you wonder
combo
why
after DFG.
they
and then
took
being
that away.
No, I mean, no one wonders why.
No, DFG, QR, dead. And you're like, okay, that's fair.
And all you just like follow it with the charms fading away, a chain,
Oh, yeah.
fade back, the chain hits, and it like
That was
final
the faker move, like when
it was just
when he would throw the chain out, and he'd also press W at the same time because he was on such low ping. He would zip back, and the chain would be like a billion miles long, and it would
really
clip
long
you and kill you.
Oh.
We are just waiting for the player to reconnect. That is Igloo, so we are.
Yeah, don't worry, then we're not
just
pause
rambling for no reason.
deliberately
You
for
can
us to talk longer. There we go. 14 minutes of pause time left.
Oh yeah.
Oh, actually, has Corky finished? Corky hasn't even. He's got a
He's got
dagger of
Triforce.
rapid fire cannon.
Yeah.
So he's so far away.
He's got.
You
You
guys
see built
probably
Hex
can't really,
Drinker?
yeah, you guys can't.
Oh,
really
you can't
this.
see it all. It's just like little pixels to you.
But
promise.
item-wise, you know, Corky there has a Hex Drinker and Triforce against the Cassiopeia, who's finished Morello's and Roa. So, and has Tier as well, right? I mean, I can see it on that screen, my mini screen.
Oh, I didn't see it. I
Because
forgot.
it's here. For us, we have these two screens. We have the screen there where the camera is, and then the screen there. So
many screens.
we should all just turn and have
We
a
should.
full breakdown of the build. Wait, Enclave
can't
hasn't
see.
even finished a core item. Oh,
That's actually quite an interesting build here. Okay, I'm pointing to the screen. There you go, guys. It's just there. So you can see Ruby Sightstone finished first item here, technically, for
here we
the
go.
Braum. So they're going to make it big, so it looks a little bit easier for us. Is that Ruby Sightstone?
ooh.
There you go. You can see it on
There
the screen
we
now.
go.
Ruby Sightstone first item completion here for Fast-Legged.
Rare that we see that. So Ruby Sightstone, everyone knows that gives you the cooldown reduction on your actives, which is fantastic, but it kind of requires you having actives.
Yeah.
To obviously, otherwise it doesn't, you know, work. So I can't actually find the logic in why you would go Ruby Sightstone before trying to get an actual item. I mean, the active is a fantastic item because of the active cooldown, but in this context, surely
The only thing that it would do extra is give you the extra 2 wards, because it does hold 5 wards.
Yeah,
Instead of the 2. That's the
true.
that's the only other thing. But I
Warding
mean,
is
it
pretty
seems
tough
like
for
a
you
lot
right
of
now.
gold to invest, because you are getting a little bit of health too. But again, like you were saying, there isn't many active items. Well, there's no active items in its inventory right now. So maybe just stacking up for
Wards don't
later.
count.
Oh yeah, wards don't count. That 1
Which
second of...
improves the...
of
Wow, we're in
we're
game.
in game. Cool.
That was a surprise.
There we go.
All right.
Enclave's back.
There we go. Enclave's back. Now, I'm kind of anticipating Enclave here just winning the game, but actually just to relay an important message, Igloo here has not been able to connect, but there is only, I believe, something about 15-minute pause time either team can have. So if you haven't reconnected, your pause time gets used. You have to continue or lose the game. Thus, Enclave here
I'ma do
playing
it
4v5. Now
45.
that's, in a sense, you know, if it was CAZ, it's not too bad, right? Because you're kind of looking at the game. It's not the end of the world. Like, you know, it's not looking great for you. For Enclave to lose Igloo, though, suddenly you've gone from a game where you're 8k in the lead to being 4v5.
I mean, if you think about that 8,000 gold, that's actually on Igloo right now. So technically, you could argue that actually they haven't got a goldie whatsoever in that regard. Okay, no. Undeterred, they're going to start this Baron. It's going to get warded out, though.
So either Enclave reconnects, or they lose the game, and they need the Baron at this moment. It's not
flag
gonna
and
go well
drag,
for them.
nice catechism. Joke's taking a lot of damage. Strength Force is going to come out. They're just going to pop Scoot
look at
straight away.
Jack
Now
Macker,
it's a 4v4, but Ringus just jumps in the back line. Jokerism still alive, but Jackamaka free hitting on the back line. Scuzzy is going to fall as well in the end for the double kill. D-Bird flashes over the wall. Mid King's going to follow him. 1v1, here we go. There's the stacks, there's the kill. Rocket to the back, and the snake will fall. Now CAZ, they're going to start up this Baron. They're just going to be able to freely take this. Technically an ace.
Yeah, technically.
Technically an ace.
So, obviously this is, I mean, I kind of feel bittersweet about this because Enclave, you might be wondering, why on earth would you start Baron against a team, you know, your five-man team, you know they have teleport, but you've got to realize that you do not win 4v5s in competitive games. Solo queue is completely different because so many mistakes get made. If you're a strong enough player and can solo carry, it's okay. But in this scenario, you're 4v5, you probably know, you've already had a chat with Igloo, you know he's not coming back. The fight's just gonna happen. You're never going to be able to win in this scenario. Like, they have two damage sources, Mid King and Jack are both on the flanks. You're outnumbered, you have no way of threatening them. Look how Jokerism there just gets chunked down by the tanks and finished off by the carries too. No options for Enclave. They had to start the Baron, because if they'd got the Baron, they would have won the game. Well, at least had a chance. At this point though, they're just... Enclave kind of just praying, really.
Praying the fight's go in their favor. I mean, CAZ's team fighting composition did exactly what it was supposed to at that moment in time. Scoot engaged with the Cataclysm, and then it was like, okay, well, we'll just use the charge. Now we can get Mid King, Jackamaka, and Fast Legged into the fray. And it was a very easy fight from there. Enclave were all tunneled into near the blue buff. It was an extremely hard fight to follow up on. I mean, the saving grace here for Enclave, I guess, would be Jokerism. He is 5-1 and 5. He's got Infinity Edge. He's working towards that double Energizer. He is going to be able to clear these waves. Scuddy is going to have to act like that pseudo top laner right now, trying to battle against Rengus.
That's certainly true. Scuddy's just going to have to hold him off. He's kind of got wave clear to do it. Rengus is kind of far behind, so can't exactly punish him too much, but a 2-level difference there too. CAZ, with the numbers advantage here, should be able to get a huge amount for this Baron.
Ain't got no damage. Oh, there you go. Finally found it. Look how much damage Rengus is getting off on that turret, though, with that Baron buff, like you said. This is really bad for Enclave, in all honesty. It's not often we cast games that are literal 4v5s.
I'm not sure I've actually ever done it.
Honestly. I mean, Enclave, they have a massive lead, or did at least. They are only 3,000 gold in the lead due to that disconnection. Maybe a little bit less, because like we mentioned, Igloo is a source of the gold, or at least holds a majority of it. Not a majority.
Completely. And even if, you know, even if it was 0-0 all the way down, just losing...
Uh-oh. Yeah, Diva's done. Yeah. Oh, nice petrifying gaze onto two people, but Rengus from the side is going to be able to clean up that kill without too much worry. Scoot almost fell, but again, CAZ undeterred. They're going to take this tier 2 now.
The only way you win this game is with some insane mechanics here if you're Enclave, honestly, to actually be able to win these team fights. You've got to dodge everything that's going to get thrown out at you. Position perfectly, make sure you're layering your CC on top of each other. It's going to be so tough for Enclave to win this game from this point, let alone not lose that much from Baron. CAZ don't actually need to take too many risks. It's possible for them just to know they're going to win 5v4 and then take what they can when they can, but realistically not have to push in too deep for anything.
It's extremely unfortunate, but that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Enclave are now just trying to clear these ways desperately, but funnily enough, Jackamaka are very good at taking turrets. And Enclave can't really step up. They have got the tools too, I guess. They've got the miasma, they have got the Caitlyn traps, but it does allow CAZ to rotate to another lane. They just pop those traps down and miasma, it's like, okay, we'll just go to another lane, that's fine. You have to commit resources for you to actually do that. And that's, we're kind of happy at this point to just take turret by turret. Still got that Baron buff available. Even Mid King now has hit that rapid fire cannon spike, has even got a BF sword in his inventory, so he's hitting like a metaphorical truck at the moment.
I mean, he's not literally hitting like a truck.
Trying to make it abruptly clear that he's not actually a truck yet.
Well, he's a plane, really.
He's on a manatee.
B-52 bomber.
A bit what? No, he's on the manatee skin.
Oh, Earth. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Was never going to be a champion.
I love how Earth is still a thing though. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, because you know Earth. Did you play when Earth was actually on the map?
Maybe.
There was the ghost of Earth. It was like from very early on. I can't remember exactly when. Maybe season 2 to season 3 or 4. Earth, if you walked up past wolves and like kind of past blue buff on the top left side of the map there, Earth, like the manatee just kind of like spawned up, like opened up his arms and then just like faded into existence, out of existence.
I played at the
so maybe you
end of season 2 onwards. It's probably one of those things that I just didn't notice. To be honest.
I mean, it's one of those things it was hard to notice, and sometimes you saw it and were like, what was that?
And then a friend's like, oh, did you see that?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
the thing, by the way.
Absolutely. It's kind of like Rift Herald having a dance animation if she kills an X. One of those things that unless you either look as if it happens to you by coincidence, or you, for some very weird reason, Google it. It's just not gonna.
Does Rift Herald have a dance when it kills the Nexus?
Oh, oh no. Pause and then instantly unpaused.
Yeah, straight into the resume.
Could it be Igloo coming back? Could it not?
Could be.
Hopefully. If he does, it's suddenly going to be like, oh, team?
Team!
Team? Oh.
What are we doing, team?
Poor Igloo. Look at him there. Oh, it feels so bad. Like, I don't know how he's feeling right now. It must be... Oh, everyone knows that kind of let down feeling where it's at least like your net or something.
I mean, it's the kind of things that happen in like normal ranked queue as well, sometimes. If someone just DCs you like
as well, right? I mean, someone injures their foot,
and you're like,
suddenly your best football player or your tennis player injures his arm, tennis elbow. So it's essentially the equivalent of the sporting injuries is internet and PC problems. Ironically,
Absolutely.
It's kind of weird, isn't it? If you were to draw an analogy between them.
Well, what can Enclave do? That's the question. Because
pray to one of the Chaos Gods from Warhammer. I think Khorne is probably the one you'd go to at this point.
He's in!
I've mentioned praying to Khorne.
Oh.
And he joins.
Igloo's back, boys.
There was a very funny thread, actually. I think it was on Reddit where it was like this guy was like, honestly, I started praying to Khorne every night, and then I can't remember what miracle happened, but it actually happened, and I was like, that's what? And then the other people were like, oh my god, same. And I was like,
OMG, same.
Right. So I mentioned Khorne. The blood god is happy. Skulls for the skull throne and all that jazz.
And his hands are dripping with blood. Well,
yeah,
that's actually just the Trinity Force, but
which
regardless,
he doesn't have. But
Diva.
Out.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
What are you doing, Diva? Just taking some muff farm. Igloo's back though. That's the big thing right now. We need Igloo to get back up and farmed. He's 70 CS behind now. Rengar's had a lot of time in these lanes to farm up. But now, with Igloo being readily available, Midking's level 70. Yeah, as soon as you put that ward in.
No.
Luckily, he didn't stay around for too long and use too many abilities, but Midking scaring him away for the time being.
It's pretty tough at this point. Igloo is 4 levels behind Rengis, 5 behind Midking, so they need to get a little bit of gold pumped into him. Now, suddenly their entire mid-game strategy has obviously fallen apart. They weren't able to do anything, but you look at the items, you look at the gold difference, it's not tragic. The only big difference is in the top lane, where Igloo is still very far behind in levels, but they can be caught up with relatively easily. CAZ, though, knowing that this is the case, instantly pulling the trigger on this Baron. It's currently at 9,000 health, 7,000, going down to 6, 5. It's just going to get dropped here. CAZ, can they close the game out with this Baron? That is the question.
Baron, the second one on the table. Or in the pockets of CAZ. Oh my goodness. Igloo just coming back. He's still level 12. He just needs XP. You can see him like desperately farming for XP.
13 off these golems.
He needs to be able to. Oh, he might do. Oh, no. He's going to get it off this wave, though.
He needs to shove this wave.
Level 13 is fantastic, but he is still behind. Midking just dinged 18. They have the Baron buff. Corki's got the package as well. Enclave can still defend. That was their big... Oh, he hasn't got package. That is the big, not outline in their composition, that was their big strength in their composition. They have got the ability to anti-siege with the traps, with the Miasma, and with the wave clear from the Caitlyn and Scudsy as well. Nightmares has got a lot of damage. He has got the Leandries. He's going to be another viable target, though, for CAZ to jump on, possibly.
Yeah, it's going to be a testament to Enclave's team fighting if they're able to handle this CAZ Baron buff, because essentially, it is now Igloo making sure that he's kind of not being blown up despite his current item disadvantage, and then the rest of the team just knowing what to do in these team fights. So far, Enclave have been the better team. CAZ there pulled the trigger on a big team fight in a 4v5 scenario, able to get a big lead from it, but we haven't really seen these two pair up now as they're both even in items, essentially. Both even in items and gold, so next big team fight is going to be the one to watch.
The only turret discrepancy now is CAZ actually have their bottom tier 2 intact. They've managed to reclaim 5 turrets in the time that Igloo had disconnected. Midking, though, is actually going to get exhausted here. Scudsy, nice flash body slam straight into the cast case, and the hole wasn't needed as Diva kicks up the shutdown there. Rengar's, though, is going to respond with that bottom tier 3. That inhibitor turret is going to fall. CAZ, they are grouping up as 4 men, knowing that a dive is very possible, but are just going to get escorted out quite safely.
All things considered, though, that is fantastic for Enclave, able to shut down the Baron push. They only lost an inhibitor tower in the bottom lane. Not the end of the world. You still have a strong split pusher in Igloo, can kind of try and contest when it comes to the push that Cled's going to be able to do. So, pick up a free kill, losing an inhibitor tower. you know, not too bad. He's still having to deal with Baron, but most likely CAZ won't be able to take anything with it. 2/3 of the way through already. And the Drake that's spawning is the Ocean Drake, so at least you don't have to worry too much about them getting like some powerhouse late game dragon like Infernal Drake, which wouldn't be great. Pretty much now, both teams sitting relatively even.
I mean, Enclave definitely wiping a bit of sweat off their brow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or a bit of the Ocean Drake off their brow at least.
2 Barons, 4v5. Yeah, Igloo is back, farming up, level 14 now.
32 minutes in though, 5,000 gold, or 4,500 gold in the lead for CAZ, just off that Baron as well. The Baron gold making the majority of that. Now Enclave, or at least Igloo, still farming up, desperate to try and get these levels to come back in this game. Has finished that Titanic Hydra, has got that Trinity Force as well. So he's only a... Sounds really silly, really, when you say it, but he's only a full ISO behind. But when you kind of think of the circumstances, it's not that tragic. At the end of the day, Rengus is going to be more tanky in team fights with this Gargoyle Stone Plate, which is only going to get amplified with that Elixir as well. But Igloo can still isolate a target, can just chuck himself in as a sacrifice in order to get at least one kill with that Hextech Ultimatum.
Absolutely true here. So, is Igloo going to be able to match Kled in the bottom lane? Almost definitely not. So instead, he's sort of grouping up with the rest of his team, kind of like helping them push out so the team can move and deal with waves together as a unit. And the Igloo currently not carrying his own weight. Kind of going to need Scudsy down in the bottom lane perhaps as well. Or maybe he's going to send D.Va as give you a hand. I don't think Igloo on this Camilla is going to be able to fully hold Rengus. Perhaps I'm wrong. He's at a 4-level disadvantage, an entire item down. Isn't looking too likely.
Elixir has been popped as well, so he's very, very chunky at this point. He's got a little bit of tenacity as well. Yeah.
Enclave got to answer this.
They have to. I mean, that turret inhibitor is going down. Hookshot to get the stun. Scudsy is here. Hextech Ultimatum to lock him in place. Nasty isn't going to do nothing to you right now. Scarlet is going to run for the hills. Cask as well is going to send him flying. Violent Tendencies being popped. There's a lot of damage, but Igloo's going to be able to follow up with a kill. And now Scoot actually having to flash over the wall. Was a little bit too far forward. Tried to go and help Rengus, but ended up not happening. Petrifying Gaze on mid-king will Valkyrie away as he does turn a blind eye. But meanwhile, Jakamaka just takes that turret in top lane.
Yeah, that's another inhibitor tower falling. Enclave still just being punished quite heavily for their lack of player for the last few minutes, but again, they're managing to hold on here. Inhibitor towers are not the end of the world. It's not like, you know, you get extra minutes from it. It is all about that inhibitor falling, which gives the super minions, of course, as I'm sure we all know, but losing an inhibitor tower, all it does is create the opportunity for your opposing team to try and get an inhibitor. It is not an inhibitor lost itself. Enclave here, still within the game. All they really need at this point is just a good setup for a team fight once Igloo has got himself perhaps level 16 and finished off what's most likely going to be a Guardian Angel. At that point, he's going to be able to sort of suicide dive in, knowing that he's going to be able to respawn. Most likely the trigger they're looking for here.
I was thinking about that. BF Sword in the inventory, still going for more damage, but you're right.
Bloodthirster.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Bloodthirster, anything of the like would have been, or Infinity Edge, just to put that out there. But
High Edge PD?
Yeah.
The Duel Master.
The Duel, it would be Duel Master, but the problem is you would also get deleted.
Yeah, it would be useless in this
a,
context. Absolutely, absolutely.
Maybe in a 1v1 it might
You're
work,
also really far behind. You want GA
exactly.
so you can leap on that Tristana or Corki,
get straight
you get
back
dropped, but the rest of your team by then is collapsed on you. It's all good. Igloo though, just needs to wait. Hey guys, sorry, bear with. Oh, he's got it. There we go. He has the GA, right? This could be the moment here that Enclave recognize they can look to try and win team fights finally.
He's not that too far behind either now. He's only 50 CS behind. It was 70 earlier. So reclaimed a little bit. It's a little bit extra gold for his bang for his buck. Now with that GA, like you said, can just jump in these team fights. So Bear Trap on the rope is missing, but Rengus still wanting to go for these trades. Knows he can win them at this point, 18 to level 16 as well. All turrets down now in the base, or at least on the outer side of the base, those inhibitor turrets, apart from that mid lane one. But it's going to take Tristana, it's going to take Jakamaka, a couple of seconds, same with Mid King, to take the one out. Now Enclave, they're still recovering from their wound, they're still bandaging up. But they can still get back in this game. This Baron is up, but they will need to be able to fight it. That's the big pinnacle turning point.
They cannot afford to lose it.
Oh my goodness, Diva just gets jumped on. Nice Petrifying Gaze, doesn't end up surviving though. Mid King actually gets exhausted here. Strangleforms is going to send Scoot airborne, goes down as well, but Rengus has joined the fight, and that'll be Jokerism. Just kind of left alone on the back line, can't really do all too much. Igloo is going to go down. GA has been popped. Jokerism is going to find Rengus. Another missile from Mid King will find him. Ace in the hole. won't quite find anything. Igloo will end up falling there to mid-king, and now it'll be just CAZ pushing the base. Only 2 members left alive for Enclave. This is going to be all their inhibitors gone.
All right, so I mean, what a decisive call there from CAZ to know they wanted to make that play happen. Diva just caught out of position. They had no vision there in advance just because the waves are pushing and punching them so deeply.
Damage on Jokerism. He's dead. That's the end of the game, I think. The death time is way too long. CAZ, they're going to take the game. They're going to take the turrets. They're going to take the Nexus. And Enclave will find themselves a loss. But CAZ picking up a win their first time. So they will at least get some points on the board.
Absolutely. I mean, it was going to be a heartbreaking loss, of course, for Enclave there. You know, realistically, you were so dominant and heading goals. You had complete control of the map.